Were you freaking out over the tsunami the other day?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
For a solid like half hour to an hour. Why are you gonna make me feel guilty for being concerned about natural disaster?
Did you actually think a tsunami was going to come and just have a huge tidal wave, San Andreas style? I guess would that be San Andreas? I don't even
No,
know. Or
San
that
and
that's more earthquake. But
yeah.
tsunami to take over the entire Bay Area?
Not the entire Bay Area, but close to the water. Yeah,
I thought it was a little ridiculous.
should work at a news station and then
No, dude, believe
try
me,
to.
I was KMBR. We were on the third floor, and people were like, "Should we go to the top floor?" And I was like, What are we talking about here? Think a
Yeah.
tidal wave's going to come through and crush the windows?"
Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. But you're thinking it could be a couple of inches. It could be a foot of water. I was freaking out more about trying to get home. I wasn't worried like about the city
That's
getting
fair.
destroyed and then turning into the point where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has to parachute into Oracle Park second base.
Yeah, I didn't think I didn't think this was going to turn into like Gotham in the new Batman movie, where it's just a waterland
Right.
or water world.
I didn't think it was going to turn into that, but I was a little concerned about potentially a tsunami. Yes, because look, man, a 7.0 earthquake's no joke. The one in
I know.
1989 was 6.9. And that was the Loma Prieta. So look, man, if there's a tsunami warning, yes, I'm going to be a little bit scared.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it was funny though, where everybody was like, "Okay, get ready for this," and then we're watching the news, and then it's like, "All right, it's been called off. No tsunami."
Yeah. Yeah, it took like an hour. Look, man, I am not the greatest when it comes to that sort of thing, and this goes back to high school. One time, it was in 2011 because it was my senior year.
Yeah.
Or was it my junior year? So it could have been 2010. No, it was 2010. Either 2009 or 2010. Junior year when we had an earthquake, pretty big one, and we were in like this room that used to be, it wasn't like a regular classroom. It was like a workshop area. So it had like a
Yeah.
much higher roof. And instead of like the lights in the roof, you know how those were at schools? Like if you had like a small
Yeah.
classroom, the
Yeah.
lights
Yeah.
were in the
Yep.
roof.
Yeah.
Well, these ones, the lights were dangling. Like they were long lights that were dangling down. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And they started swaying.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw those lights swaying, I fucking bolted. I bolted out of the classroom. And then afterwards, once the earthquake drill was over, we get back into the classroom and the teacher yells at the entire class for the way that we reacted. And then after she was done yelling at all of us, they're like, "Hey, Steven, so she was talking about you, right?" I'm like, I am
So
well.
you pulled the George Costanza.
Look, dude.
when he's at the birthday party, there's a fire. Fire! Everybody out of my way!
dude, I'm telling you, I'm not saving the women and children first. I'm bolting now.
That's a pair when you're a teenager. You're thinking about yourself.
Dude.
I would love to see you.
Ow.
Just get out of my way.
Gone.
You see those lights? Everybody run.
It was like I was trying out to be a running back on the football team, just barreling through people. Dude, I remember thinking like, I do not want to hide under this little thin desk that we have here, because it wasn't even a desk too. It was just like a small little table. I'm like, there's no way that I'm safe inside of this building if I just happen to duck and cover. No,
Right.
I'm running out of here. I'm going into the open air where there's no building, there's no lights, there's no table. I'm not gonna get the caved in. Hell no.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've had some experience dealing with hurricanes in Houston, because right after Katrina, we had a little scare called Hurricane Rita, and that was supposed to hit and be a big deal. I remember me, my mother, my little brother, and my stepbrother all getting into the car and trying to drive to Dallas, and the roads were just ridiculous. Literally, the highway was just completely full of cars. There was at one point where people just parking their cars on the road and walking their dogs. And we were like, all right, fuck this. We're going home. Went home, turned out to be nothing. And then in my senior year, there was another hurricane scare. We had a full week off from school, but nothing happened. So, yeah, I would say, like, obviously you want to take those things seriously, but most of the time, I would say just be skeptical. If it's actually going to hit, then take precaution. But most of the time, I think weather reports kind of they don't tend to freak you out, but like you see something and then people get scared. It's when it's actually become like a state of emergency or whatever, then you should panic.
I am not going to listen to you on this topic, Derek.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry. I love you, but I am not going to heed your advice on.
I've been through it all, Steven. I've looked in the face of danger and I laughed at it.
No. It's just like, I'm sorry, but I despise those people. Everyone calm down. Nothing's happening.
Calm your tits. There's no tsunami coming.
It reminds me of COVID a little bit.
Well, that's different.
Well, yeah, I know. But when we first got started, when it first was, about to hit, we came in on the Thursday to the studio.
By the way, is your mic on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay. We came into the studio on Thursday, and this was like the day after, I believe the NBA suspended its games. Or was maybe the day before?
Yeah, no, I remember that. The when Scott Van Pelt interrupted the broadcast.
Right. I think it was Fortenbaugh who came in wondering why the hell we're coming into the studio. This is about to get serious.
Yeah.
And then me and Dibs are kind of like, I think this thing will blow over. This isn't going to be that bad, right? And sure enough, it turns into it turns into a moment that's defined our generation in a way, and not defined our generation, but it's going to be one we look back on like, oh yeah, the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, completely wrong about that. I'm not going to ever tell myself, nah, it's okay. If there's a tsunami warning. Mm-hmm.
No, I was the same way where leading up to it, I was like, I remember living in a house with my roommates, and one of my roommates was like, should we go to the grocery store and get like, food and toilet paper and all that stuff before shit gets crazy? And I was like, please. And then shit didn't get real until Rudy Gobert got COVID and Tom Hanks got COVID. And then that's when everybody started to shit their pants.
Touching the microphone?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, giving you advice on when you have to deal with natural disasters.
Yes.
But everybody's fine. I mean, I know we're making light of the situation. The earthquake, I'm assuming it didn't have any real ramifications, I'm hoping, in Humboldt.
No injuries as far as we know. Just people having to get evacuated and whatnot.
which is no, not fun always. But and the tsunami didn't happen, so no harm, no foul. It's just in the moment, kind of funny.
The collective sigh of relief around the studio too. Like we had a few people on, and one of them are explaining what can happen. I think we had callers on who felt the earthquake. It was all hands on deck at the station. It was actually really fascinating to be there during this time, because this is our bread and butter. Like, people are going to go to us for this stuff, and we had different people, and then eventually we had someone from the Tsunami Warning Center on, and he's like, "It's been canceled." And then everyone's like,
oh, thank Christ.
Yeah.
In those moments, I always think of some guy, though, like if you're at work, some guy just freaking the fuck out to the point where he's like, I can't take this anymore. All right, it's time for me to say how I feel. You, my boss, fuck you. I've always hated you. Susan in accounting, I've always loved you. Oh, it's canceled? All right, everybody just calm down.
Yeah. Oh, boy. No, people were doing something like that, though, making rash decisions. And just like, I personally, I tried getting an Uber home because I was literally about to leave. This thing was going to hit. BART got canceled. I'm like, well, shoot, like if this thing stays canceled throughout the day, it's going to be a nightmare getting out of the city. I should probably get like an Uber right now. And I think it was in Jesse's, like, you could just take an Uber to my car, and then I'll drive. What?
I just envision the Uber driver driving you out of the city, and then the tsunami hits a tidal wave, and you're like, step on it. You guys trying to outrun the tidal wave.
Yeah, no, I'm just picturing sitting in the back seat, and then the camera zooms in, and I just say, oh my God.
Yeah.
I tried getting an Uber. Cost like $36 to get to Oakland. I was going to drive to Jesse's place and then take her car home. And by the time I got outside, no one was taking my little request because the price went up. I got it for like $36, and that's what I was looking at. But then the price went up to like $56. Then it went up to $65, and then it ended up going up to $100. So people were paying like $100 to get out of the city, to get out of Dodge, dude, just to get to Oakland.
So people weren't taking your ride because you got it as low as $36.
Yes.
That's bullshit.
And then as soon as the price started going up, that's when everyone started. That's when they started rejecting and probably taking everyone else, because it's like, oh, I can make more money out of this.
Isn't that I understand, like, that's how business works, but isn't that just the fucking worst?
Yeah. The Uber I got ended up being
profit off of your panic.
The Uber I got ended up being 22 minutes away, and by the time it was 10 minutes away, that's when the tsunami warning got canceled. Then I canceled the ride.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, all good. And you
$8
finished out your work
fee.
Yeah. Oh, $8?
Yeah.
God, I hate those.
So Derek, I got a question.
Hopefully I have an answer, Steven.
Well, it's more about being a radio host. You've been doing this for a week. Now, I just had a dream.
God, it feels like a lifetime.
I just had a dream.
I have a dream that I will be a radio host.
JJ Redick, for whatever reason, passed away in my dream.
Okay.
Like, I got the news that JJ Redick died, and I'm going around telling everyone JJ Redick died, and no one seemed to understand what I was talking about. And I'm like, get it through your head. You know how big of a deal this is? JJ Redick just died. I don't know why I thought of that. But but anyway.
Jesus. Okay.
That has nothing to do with anything. But another dream that I've had consistently as a radio person is going in, doing my job as a host, but then the mic turns on and you don't speak. For whatever reason in the dream, you can't think of anything to say. You start stressing because your mic is on. People are expecting you to talk, and there's just nothing but dead air. You just can't say anything.
Yeah, this is my nightmare every day, Steven.
Have you had that dream yet?
It's almost reality.
Kyle, I'm Greg's son. No, dude.
So,
dude, have you had that dream though?
Not yet. It's more when I'm in the moment and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to add to this, or it's like, have I had that dream? No, but I've definitely felt that during a show where I'm like, okay, I need to say something here, but I don't really know what to say.
Oh, dude, wait till you have the dream. You're gonna have the dream. Every host has had that dream.
Let me have some peaceful dreams about just ridiculous nonsense.
Like what? What do you dream about?
That's the thing. I couldn't even tell you what my dreams are. They're just so weird and like they're insane. Like I couldn't even describe to you sometimes what goes into my dreams. Sometimes I feel like they're like acid trips, and I'm like, what the hell did I just experience? I couldn't even explain to you, like, it's not like the normal thing, like, oh, my teeth fall out. Like, I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to mean, some Freudian thing. But like most of the time I wake up and I'm like, I know I just dreamt, but I have no idea what the hell that was.
I've had one that's pretty constant. Probably like once a week. No, once every few weeks, I'd say. But I'm
By the
back.
Way, this fake Derek Papas knows me pretty well. I dream about John Lund feeding me Dippin' Dots in our Speedos. Yeah, I do often dream about that.
Yeah, cookies and cream. That's what I'd picture your dad saying on the opposite side. Cookies and cream?
No, okay.
Rainbow? So one I always have is I'm back at college, but I'm like, it's the end of the semester, and I realize that I haven't gone to any of the classes. I haven't taken any classes.
I have that one. That one I have. I've had that one where I'm talking to like the dean of the school, and they're like, "You haven't been to this class all year long," and I'm like, "Oh shit, did I forget about this class?"
Yeah. Like I'll go to it, and then I'll get there, and then it's the end of the semester, and I'm like, "What? I haven't been here. I don't remember this." And I wake up having to tell myself, "Oh yeah, Steven, you got your college degree. it may have been the easiest degree of all time, but you got your college degree. So I have to remind myself, you already graduated. You're fine. Because I wake up with like sweating, anxiety.
Yeah. Do you like? I've had some intense dreams where I wake up and I'm like, thank God that was just a dream. Because if that was in reality, God, I would have a ton of issues right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Dreams and tsunamis. All right.
Wow, that's actually a really good band name.
Dreams and tsunamis, or tsunamis and dreams actually has more of a ring to it.
Tsunami Dreams.
Tsunami Dreams. Kind of like that. Kind of like that. All right, we are coming to you live at 9 a.m. because I wanted to have some time before Texas plays Georgia in the SEC championship game. Big old game today. Not feeling confident because they played a couple weeks ago and they got their asses kicked. And yeah, and Kyle Shanahan will not be watching Texas and Georgia. I totally understand that because he's got to get ready for a big old football game tomorrow between the Bears and 49ers.
Hang on. Before we get to that,
yes,
Texas and Georgia, it's a great excuse to play maybe the greatest piece of broadcast television that's ever been broadcast before a game.
Okay.
Let's take you back to 2019 with UGA 10.
Ah, yes.
And the Longhorn.
People's handlers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is like a man walking on the moon. Never before. Oh my Lord! Oh!
Bebo!
Oh! Can live television get better than that? No! Maybe that was not the best idea, but we don't care.
Can we get a replay on that?
Can we get a replay? Oh!
That's targeting. Is that targeting?
No, what happened to Uga after that?
He just ran away.
Oh, good for him, and I'm sure he shit all over the field.
Yeah. What are they on? Like UGA 12 now, or is it still?
I couldn't tell you. That's why animal mascots are always dangerous.
Yeah,
because Bevo, good Lord, that could kill somebody. Uga, that poor little dog.
That's a big boy, man.
I know.
Huge Longhorn.
I also just love your face while you're watching that. Just like, oh, look at that little dog, huh? I bet he loves belly rubs. Oh.
Dude, come on, man. Bulldogs. Love bulldogs. You ever played with a bulldog before?
I'm sure I have.
You smack him on the stomach.
Easy. Jesus.
Oh, you good boy.
We play the bongos on that dog? Good Lord.
Yeah, dude. Man. Yeah, I'm telling you, that was all time because even in the lead up to it, Steiny, Evan, and I were watching the whole video of it yesterday, the lead up.
Yeah.
And they had Uga getting out of his cage. And the way they were talking about the dog, they were like, "What's he drinking? Bet it's Aquafina." Oh yeah, Uga loves himself some Aquafina. And they're like just doing this weird best in show type of bit where they're just trying to crack jokes about the dog along the way. And then the Longhorn comes in. It was amazing.
Yep. And I mean, I don't think this could be representative of today. I think that Georgia I don't know. Texas has got to be able to run the football a little bit better than they did a couple weeks ago, but we'll see what happens in that game. Let's talk about
I saw a tweet. Sorry, I keep on interrupting you, but
no, go ahead.
I keep thinking of stuff. I saw a tweet where like they showed a video of Arch Manning, and then the comment was a Manning brother a Manning disciple with some culture. It's over for all of y'all.
Like, well, what culture did he have?
Just because Arch Manning just seems to actually connect with his teammates as opposed to Peyton and Eli, who were kind of just standalone white guys, whereas Arch Manning's like, like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and he's like
with some culture, I guess.
Yeah, he's part of the culture now. And he's like a Manning brother a Manning kid with some culture.
Well, he's got
over for you in the NFL.
He actually got some speed, which Eli and Peyton definitely did not have. This kid could run. Speaking of which, one thing on social media I've been noticing lately. What's the deal with these Family Guy memes? Have you seen these?
Yeah.
Where it's a Family Guy cutaway joke that leads to a highlight video of an athlete?
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredibly weird.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either because it I don't know. It's just awkward to me, and there's kind of like there's no AI involved, but I kind of get that sense. It's just kind of weird in that rap songs in the background, and it's like usually something like extremely offensive that's said on Family Guy that leads to like, what you would say about that athlete, like something that we'd be like critical of him for. I don't know, just I don't care for it. But then again, I don't really relate to what the kids are doing these days.
Don't they mention an athlete and then play a highlight reel of him? Like
yes.
I think there was actually speaking, AJ Cruz speaking. He says he's putting together an Optimus Prime Lego set, feeling like a kid waiting for a hot sauce punishment. No hot sauce punishment today, AJ.
We already did that. The broccoli on Tuesday.
Oh, that one almost made me barf.
Where were you, AJ Cruz?
But there was one where it was that episode of Family Guy where he where they're naming Megan, and instead of putting Megan, he wrote Megatron because that's her real name. And so they showed that. Then it cuts to a highlight tape of Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Well, Megatron, that was his nickname.
Well, I get that, but like I just don't get, why does that have to be attached to that?
That's just what they do now. That's the lead in.
It's weird.
Yeah.
LMAO.
There's definitely more offensive ones, I should say. Not really offensive, but like they do like this whole massage parlor thing, and then it leads to Deshaun Watson highlights.
That's funny.
Okay, let's talk about Thursday night's game. Between the Lions and Packers. Why? I thought it was a good game.
Oh, it was a great game. It was an amazing game, actually.
Yes. Steven, just whenever I say Thursday night game, you're like, because you're so used to saying Thursday night football sucks. Yeah. But this game was good. My whole thing about the Green Bay Packers struggling to throw the football at Lambeau Field didn't really hold up, because I thought that Jordan Love struggled to throw the football in this game too. Now, he was better in the second half, but I believe he was 3 of 7 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just me, but I mean, the running game is really potent right now with Josh Jacobs. He had another 3-touchdown performance as he did 2 weeks ago against the 49ers. But either Jordan Love is just not 100% right now, or he's just kind of off from not having Romeo Doubs out there, or his offensive line not being 100%, or maybe, like I said, him just not being 100% himself. But something's a little off there with Jordan Love. Definitely more interceptions this year and just not playing consistent football. But they put up the points. Like I said, Josh Jacobs with the 3 touchdowns. The Lions, they're kind of not playing well defensively right now, I would say. But everything's fine for them offensively. Now, they don't need to have Amon-Ra St. Brown go off for a huge game. I believe he did not do much in this game.
No, he barely had anything. It was very even, to be honest. Like it was very spread out in terms of their passing game. There wasn't one guy who went off. Like Jameson Williams was the dude who would get you some big plays, but Amon-Ra, I just realized like the value the Lions have, and I'm sure they said it was going to become a trend in the NFL. But getting wide receivers who can block, I think they're going to be valuing that more than a wide receiver who can get separation and do all these different things. Like, no, we could scheme them open. We could scheme those guys open. They don't need to get separation, but can they block? Do they have the motivation to block? Because I think that was, to me, that was like the game changer in this one. You're just seeing Amon-Ra get at it. Jameson Williams get after it. Like those guys, it doesn't even matter if they don't get the ball. Like looking at the stats, Derek, like I know Amon-Ra didn't have a great game. I mean, looking down, 5 receptions for Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, 6 for Tim Patrick, but then also 5 for Amon-Ra and 5 for David Montgomery and 6 for Jahmyr Gibbs, 5 or 6 across the board. And it just, to me, what's most impressive about their wide receivers is their ability to block. And it reminds me of the 49ers.
Yeah, and that's why they valued Brandon Ayuk at the same time of him, pass catching. His ability to block is definitely beneficial for Kyle Shanahan and the offense. Yeah. But the story of this game was the gigantic Randy Marsh-like balls of Dan Campbell.
Whoa.
And how he benefits from his 4th down decisions, but also can kill his football team. So earlier in the game, they had that 4th and 1 pitch to Jahmyr Gibbs that did not get the 1st down. And then that led to a Packers touchdown, which I'm like, Why'd you do that? I think they were on their own 30-yard line, which, extremely short field, and it set up easy for a Packers touchdown. Then later in the game's tied up at 31, and they get stopped on a 3rd and inches, and it becomes a 4th and inches, and you're really thinking, okay, just take the lead. Just take the lead and then play a little defense. But Dan Campbell is a gambler, and he goes for it on 4th and inches, and you could say that I believe both schools of thought are right here. You could say, all right, 4th and inches, you have this offensive line. You do this all the time. You should go for it. And it's not really that big of a deal. 4th and inches, just bust through the line, get the first down. Not that it was like 4th and 10 and they were really ballsy there. But then also you could say, Dan, what the hell are you doing? Just take the lead there. This is so just risky and careless. And that's the stuff that led to his demise in the NFC Championship game a year ago. So everyone could come away with Dan Campbell, the locker room speech was great of him being like, fuck yeah, man, that's who we are. Offense did great. Defense did great. Skip, keep throwing up in that trash can over there. You want to play it?
We need to play it.
Yeah.
It's all time.
We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's the way to step up, man. That's the way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing. Freaking land on the line.
That poor bastard just throwing up in the trash can, and he has to point it out to everybody.
It's like this guy's face. This guy's face is like. Oh, that's amazing. See, this is why people need to watch the podcast, because this is more of a visual thing.
Oh, it is.
But man,
he's just hunched over in the trash can.
That poor guy. My God.
Have you ever thrown up during a game, or after a game, or before a game?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I never did. I was always calm, cool, collected, in shape.
No, I'm sure you were
in shape, well conditioned. Really, just the most athletic guy on the field at all times.
But if we were in those pregame meetings and I saw those lights swaying, you best believe I'm out of there.
I'm running out of there faster than anyone else because I'm more athletic.
That's true, Stephen.
Hurdling tables.
Just the image of you. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that it's twofold with Dan Campbell. I think that you could look at him at being like, wow, what a good leader of men, how risky he is. At the same time, how reckless he is. So it's a good win. But yeah, it just reminds me that Dan Campbell, he benefits from this stuff. And at times, I think that he's a really good coach and he's better than Brandon Staley. And Nick Sirianni, but sometimes I wonder if he's just a more confident and buff version of those guys.
I don't think so. I don't know what the inner workings are, but what I can tell you is I think they play much harder for Dan Campbell than the other teams do for Nick Sirianni. I think that's
a
Eagles,
given, yeah.
I think Eagles have been run by their coordinators, but I just think Campbell's the perfect guy. Maybe, but look, man, his team, like everyone keeps talking about the 49ers season from hell. I've been seeing that as of late, but look at all the people that are on injured reserve for the Lions. Like,
yeah,
they've been dealing with injuries nonstop. Elijah Jones, Dennis Gardeck, whoever that is, Bilal Nichols.
You're looking at the Arizona Cardinals.
Carter O'Donnell, or excuse me, what? Oh, Jesus.
You look at the Arizona Cardinals.
Whoopsie.
I was like, who are these guys?
There we go. DJ Reader, Levi, whatever, Josh Pascal, Emmanuel Mosley, Giovanni Manu, Taylor Decker, like all these guys out, injured reserve, whatever.
Yeah.
They've been dealing with injuries themselves. I was looking at the Cardinals thing. That's embarrassing. Moving on.
And by the way, Taylor Decker,
Crazy,
I think it's Skip. I have to think of his first name. I'll get it for you. But the guy that was thrown up in the trash can is filling in for Taylor Decker at left tackle.
Yeah, like those guys have players out too. So,
but that's what I think might be their undoing in the long term. Is like if a team can blow up their running game then they're in trouble. And I did see the Bears kind of do that in the second half last week against the Lions when on Thanksgiving Day. So we'll see how that goes. But
I have
do
a
want to
question
talk
for
about
you.
what's up. Go for it.
Do you think we propped up Jordan Love too much? Gave him the contract after
or do you mean me?
No, I'm talking about everyone because we gave him the highest of ceilings after he had 9 good games last year. And this year, I know he was dealing with injuries, but he hasn't looked the same. Did we maybe overvalue him because the Packers gave him a contract and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's really that good?
No, I still put a lot of stock into his performance. I think of 3 games. I think of the game against the Lions last year on Thanksgiving Day where he lit it up. I think about the game he had in the playoffs, 2 playoff games, where he lit up the Dallas Cowboys defense. And then even in that performance against the 49ers, I thought he played really well besides those 2 interceptions to Dre Greenlaw. So I would say there's potential there, and you're giving these contracts based on potential. Is that fair? No, but that's just what the market is,
right?
And that's why Nick Wright could go on his show and be like, "I would not pay Brock Purdy." I get why you wouldn't pay Brock Purdy. The same reason you wouldn't pay Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence or any of these guys that haven't really proved it yet. And you could make the argument that Brock Purdy has proven it. He took his team to the NFC Championship game, won it, and then went to the Super Bowl. But if we're being really honest here, the best of the best should get these long-term contracts. But that's just not how the market is. That's just not the need for quarterback is so big that you're willing to overspend for it. So, it's not like, the A's giving out a $67 million contract to Severino. Like they're overpaying for that. You could say like, oh, you're overpaying for Jordan Love, but the truth is that that's probably what he should make in this new economy of quarterbacks.
Sure, but they paid him pretty early on, and I don't know.
But then after that he's just going to walk.
True. I don't know. I'm just saying he had 9 good games last year, and this year he hasn't looked the same yet.
I think a lot of that has to do with the injury. I don't think that he's a 100% from, what was it, an MCL or whatever it was, meniscus, that first game of the year. Yeah, no, he has not looked the same. But I don't think that's the reason they lost this game. I think that they lost that game because they didn't take advantage of the opportunity they had to take the lead. When the game was 31-28, they should have scored there to go up 35-31 and put more pressure on the Lions.
Right.
Really, no team defensively has been able to stop the Lions this year, with the exception of the Buccaneers. No one can stop the running game. And yeah, I would say the Packers can still do some damage in the playoffs. They're not going to be your NFC North Division champions right now with getting swept by the Lions. But I believe that they'll be a playoff team and they could be a dangerous road team. But yeah, I think that division is going to be the Lions unless Minnesota does something that I don't expect them to do. I could see the Vikings actually losing some games here. If you look at their schedule, I mean, they're 10-2, but they are kind of like the 2016 Raiders of how much I believe in them as a dangerous team at 10-2. I don't want to bring this up real quick, Steven, because everyone keeps talking about how Kyle Shanahan hasn't been very creative this year offensively. And I agree with that, but I think it's also based on his scheme working the way it has been for the last few years where he didn't have to do all this creative stuff. Now, there's moments where, like a year ago, I keep bringing up Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey lining up in the backfield, and you didn't know who was the running back or who was the wide receiver. I thought that was definitely good at deceiving the defense.
Right.
And then I thought that Ben Johnson did an amazing job of that on Thursday night. I'll give credit to Emmanuel Acho with his breakdown of this. There was a play on the first Tim Patrick touchdown where Amon-Ra St. Brown comes out and he ducks down because he doesn't want anybody to know that he's lining up as a running back here. So he ducks down. No one can see his number. Then on the left side, you see Jahmyr Gibbs lined up as a wide receiver, and the defense is so discombobulated that they don't know what to do. So they're figuring out, okay, who's the running back? Who's the wide receiver? Boom, the play snapped. Tim Patrick's open, touchdown. That's the type of stuff that I would like to see more from Kyle Shanahan in the future. It may just be like, oh, well, whatever. That's just, eye candy. But when you don't have as much talent on the football field, that's where I think you need to be more creative like that. So like the 4th and 2 weeks ago against the Green Bay Packers, where it was just split them out and McCaffrey's on an island and they throw him the football. That's the first read. Boom, it gets broken up by Xavier McKinney. I would have preferred to see Jordan Mason lined up in the backfield and McCaffrey lined up to the left. That's the stuff where I think that Kyle Shanahan can grow as a coach and look himself in the mirror and say, okay, my scheme alone is not going to help us in these games of just let's line up and give it to McCaffrey, or let's line it up and throw a screen to Debo. We need to be more creative. And that's what I think is going to happen this offseason. But I think that needs to give him a chance to do that. This whole thing with Florio saying that it's time that the Niners move off from Kyle Shanahan and look to get draft capital from the Chicago Bears to trade him. Look, you know that I'm not a big Florio guy. I think he's extremely knowledgeable when it comes to contracts and how the league works. But this is just a ridiculous hot take to me.
Why is that?
Because is there any validity to this? He's acting like this is he borders on the line of hot take guy and then insider. So what really is this? Is this just his own opinion? Why would the Niners ever trade Kyle Shanahan? Why would they do that?
Because you could get a lot of draft compensation for him, and
you already have 6 or 7 draft picks next season.
But you could always use an extra first rounder or two. But I'm just explaining his reasoning here. He also said that Shanahan needs a fresh start. I almost believe that. But
why? Okay, and you brought that up last time. Why does he need a fresh start?
Because when you're just stuck in a singular environment, you're not even thinking about going outside the box. You got these players that you're going to work with. That's why Kyle Shanahan hasn't evolved any of his system, because he has the players. He knows that they could thrive under his system. And instead, if he goes to an entirely new team, he might do something completely different with a brand new roster. And I think that it's just emotionally draining on him. And I think you can get stuck in your own ways. I mean, look at Klay Thompson with the Warriors. It was doing nothing but bringing the Warriors down the past year or so. I think that there's some validity to the idea that maybe he needs a fresh start. Maybe he needs something different or a change of scenery. Do the 49ers need to do it? No. But I think there's some validity to that. And I don't think they should trade him. I think that's kind of bonkers. But I think there's something to having a fresh start. Yeah.
But why? Okay, this is just one bad season. And I know that he's had others when he first came in the league, and then when Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL in the 2020 season.
Right.
There is a reason why. I mean, there was so much bullshit this year, from the contracts to the emotionally, being drained after the Super Bowl. I think you go back to what Manti Te'o said, and there's validity to that. I thought he kind of surmised that too early from a preseason game. But yeah, I totally get his point there. And then everything, all the injuries this year, McCaffrey, Ayuk. I mean, what players are dealing with off the field with Trent Williams and Charvarius Ward. There's just so much bullshit this year where I think you could just, let's reevaluate in the offseason. Let's take a look. What is this roster? Does it make sense for Deebo Samuel to be here? Do I need to change who I am? I keep bringing up Sean McVay in the year after the Super Bowl, where he was so close to leaving, and then he was like, "What am I doing? I need to change myself. It's not the team that's failing me. I'm failing the team." And I think that Kyle can see that, or he can say, "There's a lot of reasons of why we didn't have success this season." And I know that I know that Florio kind of related it to Andy Reid at the end with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think we're going way too quickly with that. Andy Reid was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles for 13 seasons.
Right.
He went, if you want to talk about, you can't get over the hump, he lost, 4 NFC championship games, only got to 1 Super Bowl. But they still kept coming back, and he still kept reinventing himself. He went from McNabb to Kevin Kolb to Michael Vick. And it wasn't until Andy Reid went 4-12 where then the Eagles were like, okay, it's time to move on. And even then, the Eagles regret it because they fired Andy Reid and brought in Chip Kelly, and he was terrible. Then they tried to find an Andy Reid clone in Doug Peterson. He wasn't good enough. They won a Super Bowl, but they fired him 2 years later. So I don't think the Niners would regret ever doing anything like that. And I think Kyle would regret that. Like Kyle or John Middlecoff brought this up. I thought it was a great point. You think that like Kyle answers to nobody. He answers to nobody. You think Jed gets in the way of what he wants to do? Maybe with Trey Lance, possibly. But besides that, he's not like John Lynch does. Like besides like a few things of like we got to draft Jake Moody, but for the most part, Kyle tells John Lynch what he wants.
Right.
If he goes to the Bears, the Mikowskis and Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles are telling him what the deal is. So I don't think it's advantageous for Kyle to do that. And also for the 49ers, who are you going to get? Bill Belichick? People keep bringing, let's get Belichick, let's get Vrabel. The team would be so different if they would change their coach. You think Belichick wants to deal with John Lynch telling him what to do? I doubt that.
Bill Belichick would be telling him what to do.
It would be a different dynamic, and I don't think you just pick up the success right away from Kyle to Bill Belichick like that.
Right. Well, that's the prime. Like, it's not even the issue of trading him because I just don't think that's going to happen. But what's the contingency plan? What are you going to do without Shanahan? What, you're just going to trade him? You're going to get some draft capital? Okay, who are you bringing in as a head coach? You don't just have one waiting there. I mean, look what happens with Nick Sorensen. It's like you just promote a guy who's been an assistant there for a while. He understands the scheme. Well, sometimes guys just aren't built for the position that they're currently in, and I kind of think that's the case with Nick Sorensen. I think they kind of fired Steve Wilkes a little too prematurely, and
they definitely did,
and let Sorensen do whatever he had to do. And I think it reminds me of Antonio Pierce. It's just you're kind of in over your head. And I know we're going to get to Pierce later, but I do think though, like, bringing back head coaching trades, I think that's something interesting because I think we're going to get past the whole, let's find the next offensive mastermind. Like this is, I think that the coaching tree, the playmakers, the guys who were involved in that Playmakers podcast or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay.
The play callers, I believe.
Yes, the play callers. Raheem Morris, Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Zach Taylor.
The Piss Boys.
Like, I am not fully convinced Ben Johnson's going to be a great head coach. Like, I'm just not. He's the top head coaching candidate. That's fine, but he could struggle. Just because he's an X's and O's guy doesn't mean he's a leader.
No, definitely. I agree with you on that one because it's not like Ben Johnson's the guy being like, let's go for it on fourth down. Let's do all these crazy things. Now, he does come up with the schemes of let's throw to Penei Sewell for a, end around, and he gets sacked when he hasn't given a sack up all season. But I wonder how he's going to be with his fourth down decisions. Is he going to be aggressive like Dan Campbell? Is he going to throw a challenge flag? Anybody that's like, I know I brought up Ben Johnson in relation to Kyle Shanahan of what his play calling should be at times, but also I would never trade Ben Johnson to be the head coach over the 49ers over Kyle Shanahan. I have no idea what Ben Johnson looks like as a head coach in this league. Now, should he get an opportunity? Yes. If I were the Chicago Bears, would I want to team him up with Caleb Williams? Absolutely. But to act like he's an upgrade over Kyle Shanahan is ridiculous. Yeah. Now, I do go back and forth with the leader of men and the offensive mastermind as your head coach because I feel like we're going to see more Dan Campbell types and DeMeco Ryan types, and we may see less of these offensive masterminds because I think some people question if they have shitty seasons, how good they are at leading a team. Like right now, you'll see, like I'm interested in this Hard Knocks with the AFC North of how Kevin Stefanski, kind of brings his team together when it's so much in the shitter right now. But you brought up Antonio Pierce, and you and I are in agreement that I don't think there's much he could do to save his job. But I get a little uneasy because I wonder if Mark Davis is going to give him the benefit of the doubt of, okay, we gave you a bad roster this year, and this was really more of an evaluation season, and I want you to be able to lead a football team once we get going in the new iteration of what we're doing with a new quarterback.
Gee, Mark Davis making a wrong decision. Yeah. Where have we seen that before? Oh, I don't know. Ever since Al's passed?
Yep, pretty much. And I think that you have to believe with Tom Brady's presence that they may look to upgrade the head coaching position. Because Tom, like we've said, can make a call to Mike Vrabel. I doubt that he'll try to get Belichick to be the head coach of the Raiders. I just don't think that would work. But yeah, I think that Vrabel is definitely an option. Or maybe even Brian Flores, DC of the Minnesota Vikings right now. Now he would have to smooth things over with the league and that whole lawsuit, but I definitely see that as an option. But Dion seems to have a close relationship with Antonio Pierce, and we can bring up this thing. I don't know where this is held. Maybe you know better than me, Steven. I guess this is just like some event. I have no idea actually what's going on here.
No clue.
Okay, but this is Deion Sanders and Antonio Pierce at some event, and yeah, they're talking together.
You are truly the best, and it was well overdue. Almost got me mad.
All right, can't hear a single thing out of that. That's a terrible audio piece, Derek. What
no. If you the beginning of that sucks. If you played a little later, you could definitely hear what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I retract my statement. Good job, Derek.
Sorry.
Now I just need you to do one thing. I need you to draft those Sanders boys this year.
All right, we get it. So, and then yesterday I saw. Well, I guess they're at an event in Vegas because Shedeur Sanders was driving past Allegiant, and he put it on social media to be like, I don't think there was any caption or anything, but I'm pretty sure like, oh, this is where I want to be next year. So there's no denying that Shedeur is probably the apple of the Raiders' eye right now, and they want him. Mark Davis has been seen with him at UFC events, and I just don't want it to be where they're accommodating him way too much, whether it's Deion Sanders being his head coach and father, or even Antonio Pierce coming back because he likes him. They have to make decisions that's best for the football team. I have no issue with bringing Pat Shurmur along as his offensive coordinator currently at Colorado and then making him his offensive coordinator with the Raiders. But he needs a little tough love. It can't just be we're going to have Deion be the head coach or Antonio Pierce is staying.
I did some digging into this, Derek, and we might as well not be talking about this. This is from Super Bowl weekend. So this was before the Raiders had the season from hell.
Oh. Well, why the hell are people posting this now?
I don't know.
God, I hate the internet.
It's like the golden at bat. Rob Manfred just randomly mentioned it on a podcast in late October. And the only reason people were talking about it is because Jason Stark decided to write a book about it. He wrote not a book, but he wrote an article about it. That's the only reason we talked about it. The only reason we're talking about this now is because this randomly surfaced. But yeah, this is from Super Bowl weekend before the Raiders had a season from hell.
Oh, well, fuck this then. Okay, never mind then.
That makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, that was a sigh of relief because I didn't know if it was like, Deion's going to pull his like, well, I only want Shedeur to play for me or Antonio Pierce.
Yeah. So I'm looking it up. I believe Reddit. I do believe Reddit on this guy, and they said for clarification, this is from Super Bowl weekend. So there you go.
All right, never mind then. So I do still expect Shedeur Sanders to be a Raider next year, but I would really hope that Antonio Pierce and Deion Sanders are not Deion Sanders are not his head coaches.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm at the point where I haven't watched a lot of college football. I'm too busy doing this damn podcast on Saturdays. I can't watch any, Derek. I'm just kidding.
Oh, please.
We have evening games. But no, I'm not going to act like I watch enough college football here to where I can confidently say I'd rather have Shedeur over Cam Ward or Cam Ward over Shedeur. I look at the numbers, I look at the stats, and I'm like, man, Cam Ward's are more appealing to me. Shedeur has some nice ones, but also if you look deep into it, it seems he's like a boomer bust type of player.
Yeah.
And it feels like Cam Ward can be a little more consistent. But look, whoever the Raiders draft, just get a quarterback. Just get a quarterback because that's the number one way we evaluate teams. You're only as good as your quarterback. That's how it feels like we evaluate them. It's like once you get that, then you can get started. Like the 49ers, they got themselves Brock Purdy. Okay, now we can evaluate this team because the thing that was always the number one issue before Brock was Jimmy G. And
Yeah.
the fact that you have Jimmy G and you haven't moved off of him, you haven't gone to Trey Lance yet, blah, 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 blah. And now that they have Purdy, it's all about the team. No one's paying attention to Purdy anymore, right? And so I just want to evaluate this Raiders team when they actually have a quarterback. That's what makes it so hard to even watch them this year. It's like, great. They looked decent with Aiden O'Connell under center against the Chiefs. Fantastic. He the quarterback of the future? No, we're just waiting for the draft. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait till you get a quarterback and you could stop evaluating what they need rather than, or at least what they need at the most important position, as opposed to, they could add a wide receiver here. Maybe they could add a lineman, doing all these different things. So I just can't wait for that. And to see how Shedeur goes along. It just feels like Shedeur is a very Raiders pick, and I don't trust the Raiders at all in their judgment. So
yeah, I mean, I could tell you that he's the more flashier player between him and Cam Ward, and more flashy personality, which I think is what the Raiders want as well.
Man, I saw Cam lead that comeback at Cal when I went to that game, Cal Miami.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's fun. He's just he's a little more reserved. Like they want a face of the franchise along with Max Crosby, and I guarantee you they want Shedeur. And while everybody on this football team right now is scratching and clawing to get a win and survive and keep their jobs, Mark Davis, I'm sure, is just like, just keep losing. I want this kid.
Yeah, it feels like it's inevitable, doesn't it?
Let's pick some games for Week 14 in the NFL. Steven has a 3-1 lead on me as we do a little thing we call wins or wings. Nice. How's the volume? Mike, we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, Steven has a 3-1 lead on me because he took the Lions to win. He laid the points, and he took the over. I took the Packers to win, and I got the over right as well.
So close.
I know. Let's start in New York as the New Orleans Saints head to Jersey to take on the Giants. Drew Lock start once again. Saints 5-point favorites, over under 40.5.
I will lay the points with the Saints, and I will take the over.
I'm going to take the Saints as well. I guess Taysom Hill is out for the rest of the season, but I still think that they have more talent than this Giants team right now that is just hard to watch offensively. Give me the under, though. I don't see the Saints nor the Giants scoring a ton of points in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans are 3.5-point favorites, over under 40.5. Mac Jones, it appears, as your starting quarterback for the rest of the way, as Trevor Lawrence was put on IR with that concussion. And also, I'll say this real quick. I know that he doesn't play for either of these teams. The Azeez Al-Shaair stuff with him is becoming a little too much. I understand he was a dirty hit, but him getting suspended 3 games, you could say that's appropriate, but also like the whole thing of his character being put into question, and then him having to go online and saying, like, if you want me to be the villain, I'll be the villain, and I'll be the Joker and everything. I think that's just a little too much.
Yeah, all of it. It's a lot. It's a lot, but whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to lay the points with the Titans and give me the under.
I'm going to take the points with the Titans as well, but give me the over. Give me the over. Will Levis playing actually pretty well lately. Well, not pretty well, but better, I should say. Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins 6-point favorites, over under 44.5. Sounds like no Breece Hall, no Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, that's lay the points with the Dolphins. I think Tyreek Hill's finally going to break out. He hasn't really had any great games since Tua's been back. So lay the points with the Dolphins, and I'll just take the over for shits and giggles.
Same here, doing the exact same thing. Then we got the Raiders going to Tampa Bay. 6.5-point favorites for the Buccaneers, over under 46.5.
Buccaneers defense has struggled, so I'll take the over, but their team is better than the Raiders, so I'm going to lay the points.
I'm going to go under on this game, and I'll take the Buccaneers and lay the points as well. By the way, the last time I believe the Raiders and Buccaneers played in Tampa Bay, that was the game where there was a shit ton of penalties, right? It went to overtime, and Derek Carr threw that touchdown pass to Seth Roberts.
God. Wasn't that
like,
against the Saints?
No, it was like no, because it was the
Wow. No, I'm thinking
the
of
Saints game is when
Crabtree touchdown.
yeah, is where they went for 2. The Buccaneers game is, remember that game went to overtime? I think we were watching a pick 6.
Yeah.
And there was like 33 penalties by the Raiders.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Carolina goes to Philly. The Eagles are the biggest spread of the weekend, 14-point favorites, over under 45.5. No Dallas Goedert, but Devontae Smith will be back.
I'm going with an interesting one here. I'm going to take the Panthers to cover. I got a little more faith in Bryce Young to sling it down the field, but I'm going to take the Eagles to win, and I'll take the over because I think the Eagles are just going to really run up the score here.
I'm going to go over, but yeah, I hear you on the Panthers are playing better football lately, and they've covered the last 2 weeks, I believe, or maybe that was before the bye week. But they played the Chiefs very well. They played the Buccaneers very well, just haven't got a win. But I see the Eagles, they're just clicking on all cylinders right now. For them to go into Baltimore and win that game, they should be able to beat up on a Carolina team. So I could see this being a Carolina cover, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to lay the points, and I'll go over.
All right.
Then we got the Kirk Cousins redemption game as the Atlanta Falcons go to Minnesota. Minnesota's 6-point favorites, over under 45.5.
I think there is something to it, but Minnesota's 6 points now.
Yes.
Holy shit. Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons to cover that. I think the Vikings are going to win. I think it could be a close game, and I'll take the over too. Wow. Vikings were 4.5-point favorites. Clearly a lot of money coming in on them. They're going to change the line like that.
Yeah. Not only do I see the Atlanta Falcons covering this game, I'm taking them to win this game. I think that this is the perfect storyline for Kirk Cousins, 4-interception game, going back to the team that didn't want him anymore, and lights it up.
I feel more confident. You're going with storyline. Derek, here's a tip. Don't go with storyline when you're betting.
Too bad. Sometimes the storyline's all you need, my friend.
I mean, I could look like an idiot, or I could look really smart after this one. We'll see.
I just think that I can see it right now. Kirk Cousins throws a pick here or there, but throws 3 touchdown passes. They win the game, and he walks off the field, looks right at Kevin O'Connell's face, and says, "You like that, huh?"
Speaking of the Vikings, obviously I think I could speak on behalf of just the entire podcast where we're hoping Randy Moss gets better soon, man. That sucks. I mean, you could draw your own conclusions based on what it is. Obviously, he didn't specify an illness, but just to urge men to get their blood work done and get some tests and check on your health because, that does not sound good. Obviously, he's stepping away from his role at ESPN, so we're just hoping he gets better soon, man. Yeah,
people were commenting about his eyes being too yellow the last few weeks. Then he told everybody that he's going to wear some glasses from time to time, and it's probably for the best for him. And, Randy Moss, a legend in the league, and we hope he does better. Let's go to Cleveland at Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are 6.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 43.5.
Lord, deliver me from this 6-point spread. I'll lay the points with the Steelers. Give me the under.
I'm going to go with the Steelers as well, lay the points. I can't see the Steelers getting swept by the Browns. However, I will go over on that 43.5.
I feel good about it, but whatever.
Seattle at Arizona. Seattle beat the Cardinals 2 weeks ago, 16-6. Arizona favored by 2.5 here, and the over/under is 44.5.
I think the Seahawks have. I think they both have a lot to play for, but I think the Seahawks have been rolling and really want to take control of the NFC West. I think they're going to be motivated, so I'm going to take the Seahawks to win outright, and I will take the over.
So you're thinking that the Seahawks right now. You said the Rams a couple weeks ago, but would you say the Seahawks now is probably your favorite to win the division?
Might be, but I think with this game, they could almost seal it. So I'm saying if the Rams got to the postseason, that'd be this team that scares me the most. I'm not saying the Rams are the NFC favorites. I don't think the NFC West representative is going to be scaring anybody in the postseason. But if there was one team I'd choose, it'd probably be the Rams right now, just because of Matt Stafford.
No, I hear you, but I have a hard time seeing the Seahawks win this division. And maybe they will in the end. Maybe they have the best defense out of all the teams right now. They probably do, actually. But I would say I just don't see it. I see Arizona waking up from a couple of losses the last few weeks. I'm taking Arizona to win. I'll lay the points.
Yeah.
and I'll go over.
No, it's interesting because a lot of what the Seahawks did these past couple of weeks is have their best game along the defensive line. And we know that Kyler Murray can, take advantage of any defensive line if they're chasing after him. Depends who gets the edge, man.
Yeah.
If Kyler Murray feels confident and comfortable against that defense, then he'll dice him up. But if not, and the Seahawks are giving him different looks, different disguises that are confusing him, then I think it's going to be a tough day for Kyler.
Yeah, Geno Smith has never lost to the Arizona Cardinals in his time of being the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh.
But let's be real. The Arizona Cardinals have been a bad football team the last few years, so maybe that stat doesn't have a lot of juice to it. Buffalo going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. I believe this was the game 2 years ago where they opened the season up. Yeah, right after the Rams won the Super Bowl. And Buffalo is 3.5-point favorites, over under 49.5.
Buffalo's 3.5, huh?
Yep.
I had him at 4.5. I didn't realize the line moved.
And I think Keon Coleman is still questionable to play in this game. Hasn't played for the Bills in the last few weeks.
No, I think he is. I'll lay the points with the Bills, and I'll take it to go over. Or no, under. We're going under.
Going under. Okay, I'm doing the exact same thing. I think the Bills are rolling right now, and the Rams are a good team, but I think they can go into L.A. and easily win this game, and they'll have home field advantage a little bit with the Buffalo Mafia, or the Bills Mafia traveling with them. I remember that was the case the last time these two teams played in L.A. And Buffalo it's got a big old matchup coming up next week, Lions and Bills. That will be awesome. I'm taking Bills, laying the points, and I'll go under as well. Chicago going to San Francisco. The Niners are 3.5-point favorites, over under 43.5. Trent Williams out. Nick Bosa doubtful, which most likely means he's not going to play. The Bears have lost 6 in a row, haven't won on the road all season, and the Niners are coming off a 3-game losing streak. What gives, Steven?
I think I might take Chicago.
Okay. To win?
They're for the win.
All right.
Rested. I don't think Brock Purdy is healthy. Isaac Guerendo's good, but is he starting running back good when they've had 10 days to prepare? I don't know. I think we've also forgotten that Bears defense, it's not great, but it's also not bad. And,
no, it's not bad.
I really don't think Purdy's shoulder is the same. I think they just brought him out there just so they could have someone who can get the offense organized. And I know it was defense who had 12 men on the field, but there were other things with that offense too that struggled against the Packers. So, yeah, I'll take the Bears to win, and I'll take the under. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game.
I'm definitely taking the under in this one. I just feel there's definitely things that could go in favor of the Bears. Obviously, they're healthier than the Niners, and they're more rested than the Niners. But there's also their offensive line isn't great. They got Thomas Brown in his first time being a head coach. He was the interim offensive coordinator, and now he's elevated to being head coach. He's going to call the plays at the same time, I believe. I still the 49ers get right going home. And Brock Purdy, it sounds like he is healthy, Steven. I totally get your skepticism. I know. For when Kyle says it sounds like he's fully good to go, but that could also be
Kyle. I'm sorry, Derek. I know you're interviewing him weekly, but Kyle is.
Well, it's only because me and him are best friends now.
Yeah, I get it, but come on, man. Kyle doesn't tell any of the truth when he's speaking about injuries.
That's totally fair. I have to believe the Niners win this game. This would. Of all the losses this season, this would be by far the worst if the Niners lost to the Chicago Bears at home.
This would be a dagger.
Yes. To me, that if you're 5-8, you're done. And if you look at all the losses they've had this season, on paper, I mean, there's context to everything, but like Vikings, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, Packers, Bills, you can justify some of these losses. You can't justify losing at home to the Chicago Bears with a beat-up offensive line and a rookie quarterback. I don't care how good Caleb Williams is.
Yeah, true.
All right, and then we got the Sunday night game, which is a doozy. The red-hot L.A. Chargers, they lost 2 weeks ago on Monday night, but they've been rolling pretty much for a while now. And the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chiefs are 4-point favorites, over under 42.5.
I'm taking the Chargers to win.
Yeah.
I don't think the Chiefs have been very good this year. I mean, their obviously record is 11-1, but man, they've been squeaking out wins. And with these types of teams, I know they're the Chiefs. They're going to get to the playoffs, and I might think differently when we get to the postseason. But in the regular season, at this point, going into their 13th game, like this is when the losses might start to stack up here, and you maybe lose playoff position. So give me the Chargers, and I'll take the over.
All right, I'm going to take the under, and I'm right there with you, Steven. Not that I think that the Chiefs lose playoff position. I think maybe they lose home field advantage to the Bills. But this is a classic. Wow, Jim Harbaugh went into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. The last time these two teams played, it was close. It was 17-10. Not a lot of offense. I think the only real offense that the Chiefs had all game was a Xavier Worthy long touchdown pass. But yeah, I don't think the Chiefs do enough to win right now. They don't look amazing. They had to kick, 4 field goals to beat that Raider team, and they got lucky with the botched fumble, or the botched snap, I should say. Yeah, I see the Chargers going into Arrowhead and winning, and so I got the Chargers winning, and I'll go under. And then lastly, the Monday night game, you got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Dallas Cowboys. I'll ask you, Steve, are you going to watch this game, or are you going to watch the Simpsons version of this?
I'm going to watch the game, not the Simpsons version. And also, I don't even know if I'm going to watch, honestly. Like, Monday Night Football, a beat-up Cowboys team, the Bengals not playing. I mean, Joe Burrow looks amazing, but the only reason this game is there, the only reason this game wasn't flexed is because of this stupid Simpsons thing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to watch probably.
Stupid.
Yes, it's dumb.
I love The Simpsons.
I know you do.
I'm not going to watch this.
Who doesn't love The Simpsons? I love SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm not going to watch an entire broadcast dedicated to it.
Yeah, I wasn't running to my TV to see the Nickelodeon version of a playoff game with Patrick Starr on the broadcast.
Right. But lay the points with the Bengals and give me the over. That's what I'll say. I'm looking.
I will take the Bengals, lay the points, and I'll go under. Because it's 49.5. That's a lot. By the way, do we know? I guess the thing that would make the most sense is Homer is the Cowboys and Bart's the Bengals.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I always remember Homer wanted to buy the Dallas Cowboys at one point. That was his dream. And I guess you could say Bart Simpson kind of looks like Joe Burrow.
In a way.
Yeah.
If you were rich, would you buy the Batmobile like he did?
If I had $3 million just to, throw around, can I take that to the road? Is it drive actually, or is it just like sitting in your garage?
I think it's drivable.
Man, I have never been like a fancy car guy. Like if I ever had money, I mean, I probably would, but that's not something I really care about in life.
I think I'd turn into a car guy if I was rich. The only reason I'm not a car guy now is because I don't have any money to spend.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel like it's worth it to waste my money on it, or at least not waste, because I've seen people who have these tricked out cars, but then they're I've seen where they live, and I'm like, come on, dude. But I don't know. But also who's really into it? Jesse's brother. He's really into cars, but he also doesn't waste money on it. But he's really into cars. Maybe grow closer with my brother-in-law if I actually get some coin.
Okay, fair enough.
So maybe I would get into cars.
Speaking of that whole thing with Joe Burrow, when
Fast and Furious, by the way. I mean, I'm knee deep in it, dude. So
what movie are you on?
I just finished the 5th,
and
it took me a week. The Rock's dialogue is the corniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh God, yeah.
It's
bitch. Listen here, little lady.
The thing at first when he's like, "Do you want the good news or bad news first, boss?"
You know I like my dessert first.
Yep.
Okay. And then
he's the only cop that would ever wear Under Armour.
After he given it for the good news, then he's like,
"All right, give me the veggies."
Yeah.
Good God, man. It's just so
I'll ride with you, Toretto. I'll ride with you.
Let's go.
Well, of course, but that's the comedy of it. They know what the hell they're doing. And by the way, I love as you'll see this as the movies progress, Steven. The Rock at first turns into this ultra man, like machismo. Like there's women in the office when he's working as a police officer. He's like, listen here, little lady, and like talking down to them. And then, of course, things change over time. And he's like coaching a soccer team with his daughter. And then he becomes more progressive.
Oh,
Yes.
you're ruining it for me.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're ruining the character arc.
No, don't believe me. There is much more to The Rock as the arch nemesis to Dominic Toretto.
I think the one that that's the
on
thing
and
that
off
gets
the screen, by the way, too.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. Like having known all the history with Vin Diesel and how seriously he takes this Fast and Furious franchise. Like you're saying they know what they're doing. I don't think Vin Diesel knows that he's being funny.
Vin Diesel doesn't know, but you have to believe the movie executives in our brains like, we know what this is.
Because the hardest I laughed in that one was at the end, at the very end, when they're finished with the heist and Dom looks up at Letty and the camera fades out.
Yep.
And then they go on their merry way. Like
Yep.
I thought that was hilarious. Just like looking up.
Yeah.
It's too much, man.
Yeah, it is. It turns into a soap opera. I'll say that. But yeah, no, they're fun movies. I was gonna say though, with Joe Burrow saying he spent $3 million on getting the Batmobile, and he would, if he had a big game, he would dress up as Batman. Adam Copeland brought this up this week, which I thought was a fair point. He hates Halloween, right? He hates the whole idea of Halloween.
I think so, yeah.
So so now he's gonna dress up like Batman because he just bought a $3 million Batmobile?
He's also kind of I don't want to, how do I put this? Because I think we've moved on from the term comic book nerd. You know, I think we've kind of moved on from that. Like you like what you like. You're not nerdy for it.
No, I'll still say that.
But Joe Burrow's like kind of a geeky guy.
Is
like,
he?
Yeah, he like had a tricked out Star Wars bedroom in his parents' house when he was living there before he got enough money to move out. Like he's kind of a geeky guy. He's cool, but he's also sort of one of those types of nerds.
Yeah, there's a lot of those in football right now. I guess like Travis Hunter is like a huge like anime nerd or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think it also strays from, you know, the cool quarterback guy. I think we've moved on from that now. Now you got Patrick Mahomes, who's just like a sports nerd who's just obsessed with sports. You got Justin Herbert, who just wants to go fishing. You got Burrow, who's buying a Batmobile because he's a comic book nerd. Times are changing, man. Then you got Lamar Jackson, who takes a shit in the middle of a game.
I think it has to deal with the generation of kids now. Like even like our guy Jamal Williams, Swag Kage, leaders of the hidden dead, village of the dead.
Jamal Williams, dude. Yeah,
yeah, Jamal Williams. Swag Kage, leaders of the village of the hidden dead. So, do you have any Pokemon cards? Oh no, don't do that. It's Pokemon. Oh, you're saying it weird. Saying like an old head.
Yeah.
I want to bring up the Warriors real quick, Steven.
Oh.
So Jonathan Kuminga has a great performance the other night, 33 points in the win over the Houston Rockets. 15 consecutive wins over the Houston Rockets. Good. I hate that team. And they're getting good again, so maybe I need to start hitting them once again. But they come off their 5-game losing streak, and Jonathan Kuminga scores 33 points, best game of his career. And now the question's going to be, well, should Jonathan Kuminga get more opportunities to start? You also look at that game, and Jonathan Kuminga carried that victory along with Andrew Wiggins. But nobody else shot particularly well. It was mostly because the Rockets shot poorly, and the Warriors got a shit ton of defensive rebounds. Brandon Podziemski didn't shoot well, but he got 10 defensive rebounds. Loon Dog, coming back again and getting rebounds. It was a good defensive performance, but mostly the offense came from Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins. So yesterday, me and Adam Copeland are talking about it on the show, and I'm like, yeah, I think that after last night's performance, you have to think maybe in 2 months you have to figure out if Jonathan Kuminga is going to stay on this team or he's going to get traded. And I know it's just 2 months and you may not have a lot of time. And what's exactly going to happen in 2 months for you to think, okay, this is our guy. He deserves a new deal or whatever contract he wants to get. He compares himself to Pascal Siakam, and Pascal Siakam got a 4-year, $189 million deal. So my thing was, Mike Dunleavy needs to decide in exactly 2 months, and that's when the trade deadline is, if they're trading Kuminga or if he's here for the long term with a contract. You don't need to sign him to that contract on February 6th, but you need to know that he's going to be here for the long haul. And Cope's kind of, we went back and forth, and he was like, I think there's nothing you can really do to prove that in 2 months. And I think that if you have the opportunity to trade Kuminga now to get a star to be that number 2 on that team to help you win a championship this season, then you do that. And it's no coincidence that after Kuminga's performance, Shams Charania comes out with a report being like, the Warriors really want to get a number 2. So, we talk about it, and I ask, Marcus Thompson, do you think that given last night's performance and Steph and Draymond coming back, that they would find a way to incorporate all 3 guys in the starting lineup? And Marcus is like, nah, man, you already know the deal with that. They're going to bring Kuminga off the bench again. They want to go with size. And I totally get that viewpoint, but that's not what happened. In the end, they go with Jonathan Kuminga starting, and Draymond Green's coming off the bench. And we didn't talk about what happened in last night's game because they lost. And Anthony Edwards had a great game.
I was also at Hamilton, so I didn't watch it.
Okay, fair enough. You were at what? Hamilton?
Yeah, on Broadway.
Oh, nice. How was that? Man, look at you, Wicked in Hamilton. You're all musicaled out now.
I know. Really good.
But after the game, Steve Kerr said we're gonna give Jonathan Kuminga an opportunity here, and he's gonna start for the next, I don't know how many games, but the foreseeable future. And Draymond Green is willing to come off the bench for this. I know this may be, a huge sacrifice for some wins here, but I kind of get it. I understand why they're doing this. They have to figure out if Jonathan Kuminga is going to be part of their future. So they're going to give him the opportunity to start these games. And Steph Curry sounds like he's all on board, and they're going to come up with new schemes and new line changes and everything. I like the idea of doing this.
You think that's why they're doing it? You think they're doing this because they want to give Kuminga a chance and see what they have?
I think there is a deadline, yes.
I think that's a trade man. I think that's a traded man walking. I think the only reason they're starting him is because Draymond's hurt. And they're just saying that they're elevating him. But I think the only reason they're starting him is because Draymond's dealing with a calf injury when he said on his podcast on Tuesday that he's afraid of what could happen.
No, that very well could be the case, too.
So I think that's what's going on. I think
you don't think
his good is gone.
Okay. But you don't think they're showcasing him a little bit to be like, all right, let's see what we got. We'll know in 2 months' time if this guy's worth it to keep around.
Maybe showing other teams what they got so they can get a little more value for him. Like, how are you going to drive his value up if you're keeping him from the bench? Look, I don't know. I didn't watch last night's game. I'm not even sure how it all went down. But when I see that they scored 90 points against the Timberwolves, not a great day for Kuminga starting. I don't know. To me, it's like you go from a Tuesday. I'm talking about Draymond Green here. You go from a podcast where you're saying you're scared that this calf injury could turn into something that happened in 2022 where you were kept out for 3 months. Like, okay. But then you have an MRI, it's back negative. Okay, he's good to play now. And then, I'm sitting on the bench because we need to elevate Jonathan Kuminga, and I think he could be that guy.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, because they never express anything with injuries. Like, I know it's kind of easy it's low-hanging fruit to take, and I'd love your idea here where they're doing this for all these different reasons. I think it's simply they don't want Draymond getting hurt. Like, I think Kuminga's as good as God, man.
No, that very well could be the case too.
They were $5 million apart on a contract offer. I don't know. Maybe they could. Maybe the rest of the season they could find a way where it's like, okay, now he's worth that extra money. I don't know about that. I don't know. Depends. If I thought that their true goal was to build beyond Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, then maybe they might be interested in that. But I just don't think that's what they want to do. I think they're trying to maximize Steph Curry and Steve Kerr for as long as they have them, which is just for the next couple of years. And I don't think Kuminga's the guy that's going to help do that. I think Kuminga's a guy you can trade for and go all in for maybe a season.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that because I think people look at what happened 2 nights ago and think, okay, now how come he can't do that every night? Well, because he didn't have Steph Curry and Draymond Green with him. And you're not going to have those opportunities. He's not going to shoot 22 shots a game every night. So if he's willing to be a superstar on this team, he needs to learn how to play with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. But yeah, I I hear you. That is actually a very good reason as to why they're doing this. But also, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Lacob after that game, on Thursday is like, I want to see what Kuminga's got. I want to see what we have. If he's what I think he is, then he's going to stay. If he's not going to be here, then let's trade him. And I think the risk you run with him starting could definitely hurt his trade value. Like, let's say he's just inconsistent and he's not good enough. Then teams are going to be like, what am I trading for? I'm trading for a guy for half a season that I don't know if he's going to be worth the damn to give him a max contract. You can also reserve him on the bench and then keep his draft stock in a reasonable situation for yourself. So, yeah, I that's a very good point you make. I could see both arguments. I think that they want to know what they have and they want to make a decision by February 6th. But yes, this could be just because Draymond Green's hurt.
Yeah, I think that's the reason. Look, I like Jonathan Kuminga, but what more can he do? Like, what's the next evolution of his game? We know he's extremely athletic. He can be a great on-ball defender. He understands when to cut to the basket and understands how to get open. But what more do we need to see from Jonathan Kuminga now in year 4 to where it's like, oh, now we can give him a contract extension? It feels like we already know what we have in Kuminga.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's such like a sticking point in the argument with him, because it's like, I think there's people that have already made up their mind on him. And it feels like that's how NBA teams are going to look at it. Like, maybe they'll take the next couple of months to evaluate whether they can actually trade their superstar and Kuminga can actually work. But I also think Jordan Poole kind of made them hesitant to give a big money contract. It's like they gave him that deal. And I know it's obviously different circumstances, but look what he's doing now with the Wizards. Like, he's just kind of being an individual. And he actually had a great start to the year, but now he's just kind of getting back to Shaq in a full status.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that might make them hesitant as well. I think they'd just rather have a proven starter, and instead of waiting maybe 1 or 2 more years till Kuminga can finally reach that high ceiling that we've been expecting since 2021, I think they'd rather get someone who's already at that ceiling and can help Steph win.
Is that guy Jimmy Butler?
I don't know. I'm not going to change. We've been on this podcast and I've already told you that I don't think his style matches the Warriors. I think you're going to have 2 alphas clashing with him and Draymond. Yeah. I think Jimmy's an ISO player. I don't really think of him as much of a passer. Got the prettiest jump shot in the NBA. I'll stand by that. I think it's just silky smooth. I don't know. I don't know about Jimmy on the Warriors, man.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely pros and cons to it. We'll see. I mean, that's the one that stands out to me the most.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But okay, are you in agreement with me though that they do need to make a decision on Kuminga by February 6th?
I think so.
If he's, because otherwise, what is this all for? Like, are you just going to let him play out and then walk in free agency? I think the best thing to do is it's both sides of it. Okay, you're benefiting Draymond because you don't want him to do too much where he can hurt that calf. But you're also, all right, Kuminga, you think you're the man? Let's see it. And if he's not the man, then and if he does, kind of do his thing with Steph, then you could say, all right, well, maybe we do sign a contract with him, or maybe there is a future with him. I think the most likely scenario is the one we're talking about where they're like, he just doesn't fit. And he's more of an individual player than he is a team player in this particular roster. It doesn't mean that he can't go and thrive at some other team, but it just doesn't fit for the Golden State Warriors. So I think the most likely scenario is he gets his opportunities, and every now and then you're like, oh my God, what a flashy player. And then some nights you're like, oh my God. In the end, I do think they end up trading him.
I also don't think his relationship with Steve Kerr is that great.
No.
I just don't. I think that there's the article that came out with about Clay this year where, they talked about the conversations with Kerr, and, Kerr's, going to the media saying we've had some really good talks. Just the way that he's giving credit to Kuminga, but to me, he doesn't talk about Kuminga the way that you talk about a player who's going to be here long-term. To be honest, the way he talks about Pajemski,
yes,
that's the type of player it feels like he's talking about who wants to be here long term. He's pushing him to be better. Yep. It's the idea of if let's just say, like, if your friends aren't calling you out on your bullshit or are too nervous to call you out on your bullshit for fear of repercussions, then are they your real friends? Kind of feels that same way with a coach and player. It's like if the coach isn't willing to, maybe call them out, that's probably because he doesn't feel good about how they react to said call out.
Yeah.
And I just think I think there's been a weird dynamic with those two. And the fact that Shams has mentioned multiple times, Warriors officials are monitoring the relationship. Monitoring the relationship? That's not a good relationship if it's being monitored.
And what does Warriors officials mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Shams is there's something about Shams. There's these reports that he's having. He's very Adrian Wojnarowski-esque, where it's like they're great on Twitter, but when they go on TV or on camera, I'm like, you didn't really add anything that we didn't already know from your article.
No, I mean, if I'm being completely honest here, and who am I to say this? Shams is not very good on TV.
No, he is not. He's
good at having scoops, but he doesn't know how to pronounce Brandon Pajemski's last name.
Right. Pajemski.
Yep.
And Woj wasn't good on TV.
No, he was not.
If you ever listen to Woj, and like, dude, if you listen to just an audio clip and you're trying to cut that for radio,
yeah,
brutal, dude.
It's tough. But
I think he just said he got diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Yeah.
So it was a terrible time to bring that up. Awful. Obviously terrible thing for anyone to go through. Actually, I was made real sad with what he said. Did you hear what he said about the not making a big deal out of it or whatever, out of his job?
No.
Yeah, he said the lack of former ESPN employees that were at Chris Mortensen's wedding, or excuse me, a funeral that were at his funeral. Like, the lack of that made him realize this job isn't that important, and what's really important is keeping those close around you. And he felt like ESPN was kind of his life. And he said, but the turnout at Mort's wedding, or God damn it, Mort's funeral, like, it made him come to a realization. I was like, God, it's just so sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if Adam Schefter really cares about any of that stuff.
I mean, I don't. I think Schefter was there, but
no. I mean, cares about. He loved Chris Mortensen.
Right.
I would expect Adam Schefter to be at Chris Mortensen's funeral, but like when you hear like Woj say that type of stuff, and Schefter's like, I can't take a shower without having 3 cell phones in the shower with me. It's like, does he care though? Like, does he love this life? Would he rather just go on and talk about all the girls he's had sex with while he broke a story than have like a family life? And who am I to judge like what his family life is? But
right,
some guys just love the insider game. Speaking of which,
you
see that you hear this thing with John Heyman?
Oh,
this
man,
this guy all time.
Oh, this is
okay.
Brutal.
There's 2 clips I sent you. So the one that's being passed around right now does not give full context of what was said. He went on with WFAN to talk about what's going on with Juan Soto. And he's on with, I believe, Keith McPherson, who's a late night host on WFAN.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how long this guy's been doing radio. Who am I to judge?
He came up through like this MLB initiative where it was like their number 1 fan gets to do this or whatever, and I think he got a job through that. I forgot what it's called, but there was something Major League Baseball was doing for the fans. So he basically he was a caller and eventually got a job doing overnight stuff for WFAN.
And he landed on WFAN, which is a big time radio station, and he landed an interview with John Heyman. Let's listen to the audio, and then I'll give you my reaction to this.
Well, which one? Which one's the good one?
And when I look at your tweet,
which one's the good one? The first one or the second one?
First one gives more context to it. We need both, but we don't need to play the entire thing. So I'll tell you when to cut it off. But this is the start of the interview, I believe.
So when I look at your history, I always say, okay, this guy's part of Boris Corp. What's the percentage of the Juan Soto contract that you're going to get when you break the news on where he signs?
Ooh.
No. Unfortunately, I get no money for anything. I have no financial stake.
Not even 0.01? A 0.01 would be a lot.
Oh, weird.
No stake. I don't know where you get that from.
But, so how does it work with Boris? Like I also mentioned earlier tonight, I'm like, he's not going to break the Juan Soto news. Scott Boris is West Coast based, and it's a 3-hour time difference, and it's Friday night, and 5 p.m. comes out there, and it's 8 p.m. out here, and he's probably like, "Hey, John, you're good. You're off the hook. Don't worry about it. We're not going to break this news tonight. You can go on, tell him about Clay Holmes."
There's a lot of competition for these stories. You never know who can get them. I mean, certainly, there are writers who are represented by agents. I am not. They may have advantages. There are all sorts of things at play here. We're all trying our best. I get some stories, won't get some others. Now,
it's been 2 years, but I remember where I was when I saw the arson judge appears headed to the San Francisco Giants tweet.
Okay, stop. That's the clip that's not being played. Everyone's hearing this clip of the fallout of Jon Heyman getting upset. And by the way, I don't need to break this story. I've broken a lot of stories. I think the reason that got such play is because people believe everything I tweet. I've had 100,000 tweets. And, you get one that was wrong, and it did say appears, and I know I rushed it, and it was a big mistake, and I regret it, but it's 2 years later.
No regrets. It's like
at some point, I think someone could probably drop it if they're a nice person.
What I think is it just like how I introduced you. Everybody in baseball knows who you are. So one, it's a credit to your work, your following, and how.
By the way, I won't be going on with you again. The whole thing has been a disaster.
That's okay.
I can't even believe you said that to question my integrity.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious. Yeah,
John,
asking me if I'm getting a cut because I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't. But that's an outrageous comment.
It's Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I'm
not done with you.
I am not taking this that serious.
Goodbye,
John. Thank you for joining us,
I can't even believe it.
Thank you, John.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. He's got to get to bed. I did not expect it to.
Wow.
Can you just play that? I can't even believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Journalist, you don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment.
It's Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I'm not
done with you.
I am not taking this that serious.
Goodbye,
John. Thank you for joining
I can't
us,
even
John.
believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate.
Okay, all right. What do you make of all this, Stephen?
I do think that question was a little out of bounds.
Yes.
Asking if you get a cut from an agent, these guys don't like talking about their sources.
Yes.
You just have to believe them, and to just insinuate that he's getting a cut from Scott Boras. Look, man, I don't know. I don't blame Heyman too much for that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess Keith thought he was playing around. I'd say I don't know, dude. These guys are pretty sensitive about this stuff, right?
I thought that the question by McPherson was completely inappropriate. You don't ask, you don't imply that he's getting a cut from Scott Boras. That may be like, if you want to say that after the fact or say it on your radio show and have fun with that, that's fine. But saying it to the man's face, I find completely inappropriate. That's questioning his integrity as a journalist. And then to bring up the arson judge thing again, it depends on your relationship. Like if Keith McPherson thinks he's cool with Jon Heyman, he's able to do that, then that's a risk you take. But you also have to be willing to have him rip your head off for that. Because that's the only thing that everybody brings up with Jon Heyman. And it was funny and it was 2 years ago, but I'm sure he wants to move past that. Now, the part that Jon Heyman, I think, goes a little crazy is he's laughing with McPherson for a little bit of time. And, he's indulging in the conversation. And then randomly he just goes, by the way, I won't be ever talking to you again.
Yeah.
He could have handled it a little bit better, but I also understand Jon Heyman reacting the way he did. Now, did you see the tweets that followed after this?
I did.
And this is unfortunate because I feel this is just John Heyman.
That's one way to put it. Yes.
This is just John Heyman. I want to be nice about this. Being a older gentleman on social media and not like he messes up all the time tweeting things out. It happens.
Yeah.
But this one, have you seen? Do you have him in front of you, Steven?
Yeah, this guy Bay Area Brennan, who's like, I don't know who he is. He just kind of became popular through Twitter because he just tweets about Bay Area sports a lot. No offense to him, I just don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And the screenshot, she dropped the N-bombs after you hung up after.
Yeah, so some guy asked Heyman afterwards, did you drop any N-bombs after you hung up? And Heyman, I'm assuming thinking he said F-bombs, said after. Then 95.7 Zone, Steven Zerotto says, John, delete this, LOL. John Heyman replies, I would never use that word. He said F-bombs. Sir, no offense, but there's a massive difference between the letter N and F. And then John Heyman goes, that guy faked that. Oh, boy. Heyman, I would just advise you to stay off social media for a little while. I don't think he handled the interview poorly. I mean, he should have not freaked out like he did. I mean, it's comical with the I can't believe you, but I totally get him being upset that he insinuated that he's getting paid off by Scott Boras.
He just kept doubling down too. Like I don't know.
I
there's
know.
always going to be this. Insiders have all this thin skin, but I don't know if I was doing that job. It's hard, man. It's like, I mean, try to think of it yourself. If anyone like comes on the air questioning his integrity, questioning his opinions and where they come from, are you getting paid by this said team to say this? You know what I mean? Like people have accused radio hosts of that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you getting paid? Are you under the team's payroll or whatever? And radio hosts get very offended by that.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing. So I think, if you turn it around, shoes on the other foot, and the same thing happens to him just in his line of work, like he'd get absolutely offended by it. If like a caller came up and said, hey, you're on the Yankees payroll. Why do you keep on doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And accusing him of that. You know how pissed off you'd get and respond in kind on the radio?
It happens all the time to Michael Kay. Michael Kay gets called out for being a Yankees homer because he literally is on the Yankees payroll being their play-by-play guy. But he has to defend himself every show by saying, I'm allowed to say whatever I want on my radio show. The Yankees don't come in every day and be like, you can't say this about the team. You can't say that about the team. So, yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, no, I think Heyman has a right to be upset.
Whoa.
His screaming is comical.
Yeah, it is. I can't believe it.
I can't even believe that. So, this is a good learning experience, Steven, because while I have fun with Kyle Shanahan and Tim Ryan and everybody that's come on this week, I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to come across as I know more than you or I'm insinuating something about your job. At the end of the day, these people are doing a service to you by coming on the radio with you. And I know everybody was like, well, you need to call out Kyle when he's not doing this and that. I'm going to tell you right now, I am never going to do anything like that. He's coming out of his time to do an interview with us. His job is way more important than mine. I'm never going to question someone's job or anything like that. Never.
But in the same token, you mentioned like it's about the relationship.
Yes.
If Keith McPherson had a relationship, then maybe. Ralph Barbieri had a relationship with Bruce Bochy.
Yes,
Brian
that's different.
Sabian, rather, and could call him out for that.
Yes. That was more fun though.
Exactly. This is what because they know that they're having fun. This is what bothers me about people who say that sort of shit. Well, they're not getting any of the hard questions. Well, okay, then tell the veteran media to do that, because as a new guy on the block, you go into those rooms, it's a little bit intimidating.
Oh, 100%.
You're with the heavy heaters. You're the heavy heaters. You're with the heavy hitters. You're with the guys that have been there for years, who have built up the earned trust. Like, you can't just go in there and just start spewing off questions where it's like, go to Steve Kerr. Why didn't you start Steph Curry? Why don't you play Steph Curry more? Just asking all these questions that aren't going to get you anywhere. Like, it's so annoying that people just think they can ask questions like that just because they're up on the podium and there's freedom of speech. No, there's a game here. There's a game within the game that people just don't understand.
Yeah, like, you don't think my heart was beating out of my chest when Kyle came on and I was like, I don't want to ask the wrong thing. Because I always have an issue with guys that are like, let me call out the coach because I need to be real with the fans. Okay, but you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know everything that goes into the day in and day out process of being an NFL head coach.
Right.
So, yeah, I probably will not ask that stuff. I'm probably going to be more like, like I saw the other day, like he's like, I only pay attention to hip hop videos and movies and animals. I'd rather know about that stuff than me question how come Ricky Pearsall's not getting enough targets. Like, the reality is, people ask that during the week, and I'm going to ask the same question. He told you why Ricky Pearsall didn't get enough targets, because he got hurt in the Green Bay game, and then in Buffalo he throws everything out offensively with that game because they were in the snow. They were trying to run the football, and everything passing wise just went to shit. So he's not going to put too much stock into that.
Right.
So that's the stuff people need to realize, and I think it's a learning moment for Keith McPherson where he needs to he may have been joking, but when you call out a journalist like that who has integrity to say he's getting paid off by an agent, that's drawing a line right there. Yeah.
It didn't sound like a joke either. Like, honestly, like, I'm sorry, but there's also a way to joke, and he may have been joking, but it ain't a very good joking voice.
No, it almost sounded condescending in the same way of like Jim Rome telling Jim Everett, "What's up, Chris Everett? Hey, listen, I'm calling you Chris Everett because that's how I referred you on the show, and all my clones would probably call me out for not calling you Chris Everett. So I'm going to do it to your face to show you that I'm a real man."
That's a good point.
Yep. Any pop culture catch-up you want to get to, Steven?
Hamilton was awesome.
First time seeing it?
Yeah, first time seeing it live. It was really well done. It was all singing. I thought there would be a little more dialogue, but it was literally all rapping the entire time.
Yeah. Like I said, not a big musical guy, so I don't think I would ever go catch that.
Well, there's hip hop involved in it. So
I know, but not my cup of tea. And then you saw Wicked, all 2 hours and 40 minutes of it.
Yeah, dude.
Was it wicked good?
I enjoyed it.
All right.
Yeah, Cynthia Vero or whatever her name is has a really good voice.
Now, the controversy with this film is there's people singing in the theater.
Yeah.
And this has been a Broadway play for a good deal of time now, right? Like 15 years?
Since the early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, so people know the songs. But that doesn't give you the right to go to a movie theater and sing along. I would find that extremely annoying. And I would tell people, if you want to go to a sing-along version, then that's where you sing. But you don't fucking sing with the music. Like, this isn't a Taylor Swift movie. This is an actual movie. And to sing along with the music is incredibly annoying. It's not like a re-release of Lion King and we all know the lyrics. This is like a brand new movie coming out.
We didn't have any of that, so sure there might be problems, but we had no one to call out. Yeah, I agree with Jesse. If you're not going to see it, don't get an opinion, man.
Can I just have an opinion about theater etiquette?
Well, also, I think there was just like maybe a little bit of that was happening, and it made everyone think that, oh, you just go to this and everyone's going to be singing. Like, I don't think that's the case.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in some movie theaters, people are singing along, and you need to shut the hell up. It's more a debate about
How do you know that?
Theater etiquette.
How do you know that? How do you know people are singing in theaters? What, you saw a tweet?
No, I saw an article. People that they're going to try to push more sing-along versions of the movie.
So people can sing in the theater.
If it's a sing-along version, absolutely. It needs to be told to the audience that this is a sing-along version.
I'm telling you that it didn't happen as much as you think. Ernie too. I've seen Wicked and nobody sang. I think if you ask a majority of people,
Steven, I'm just going based off of a piece of news. They are going to re-release Wicked at some point with a sing-along version because people are complaining about fucking idiots singing in the theater.
Listen, if I can't question your judgment after you brought up some Antonio Pierce clip from the Super Bowl, I can't even believe this.
All right, fair enough. Well, okay, like I went to go see Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
This is more about theater etiquette.
Uh-huh.
Went to go see Gladiator 2, and there was, God, just some asshole right behind me the whole fucking movie.
Ugh.
Just like really loud too. Just being like, wait a minute. So that was the guy from the first one? Wait, where's Russell Crowe? Oh, he's not in this.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the mom from the first one? Why is Denzel talking like that? Shut up. I'm thinking the same goddamn things. But shut the fuck up. And I was with my mom and little brother, and there was multiple times where I turned around and did this. And then after a while, you have to go, shh. And then literally there was multiple times where I go, yo.
You actually did that?
Yep. And it wouldn't stop him. This guy was still an asshole. My mom, of course, had to grab my shoulder and be like, you need to stop. I'm like, this guy needs to stop.
We didn't have any of that, luckily. But we've had problems with it before. We've definitely had problems with that. That would annoy the living hell out of me.
See?
I mean, you're bound to get that from time to time, but it sucks that it's right in the row behind you.
Oh, dude, it was pissing me off. Okay, but like, would you, if someone was singing Wicked behind you, would that annoy the crap out of you?
Yes, it would.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting myself in those theater goers' shoes. That the people that have experienced this, and it may not be a lot, but the people that have experienced this, I would want to punch their fucking faces for ruining the movie experience.
Yeah, I get that, but
okay, that's all I'm saying.
As much as anyone thinks.
That very well could be the case. But for the small amount that are doing that, stop it.
Okay. By the way, Daryl the Guru Johnson, I don't know if it's conflict of interest to bring him on this podcast anymore, but Daryl the
Guru, I love Guru.
I know. Daryl the Guru Johnson said Gladiator 2 was like the best movie he's ever seen. So we should bring him on so we could all talk Gladiator 2.
I'm down. Well, he's
also movie theater.
It's the best movie he's ever seen.
Yeah, that's what he said. I think it was something along those lines. That's what Evan told me.
Because he loves Denzel.
Yes, but also I think talking to Guru about movie theater etiquette would make for a very entertaining 15 minutes on this podcast.
Oh, I bet. But yeah, dude, you haven't seen it yet.
Gladiator 2?
Yeah.
You
saw it?
Yeah.
All right, what'd you think?
No, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought Paul Mescal was really good. The main actor.
Yeah, no, the lead was in it. The lead guy was good.
I thought he really like carried the torch for Russell Crowe. You can't bring Russell Crowe back.
Okay.
Were you kind of, I mean, I don't know. I was hoping they'd show him from heaven or something like he's Chubbs.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But okay. Is it specified? Is he literally his dad?
Yeah.
So when did that never happen though? Where
didn't they bonk in the movie?
No.
They didn't?
No, the kid's already there.
Wasn't that insinuated before, though? Like they already knew each other?
Not to my knowledge.
Maximus Meridius Libidius Potidius.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that's what I thought. I thought Russell Crowe was the uncle to the kid. Not really like the uncle, but like there was a whole weird thing with Joaquin Phoenix and the sister, some incest shit going on. And there was the kid, but I always thought he looked up to Russell Crowe.
Huh. I have to watch the first one again.
Yeah, I've been meaning to.
Oh.
And also that takes a turn.
No, that was Braveheart. Get it right, nice guy.
Yeah, there's the scene where the whole I need you to impregnate me to
Sons of Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm William Wallace.
So yeah, now that you've seen the movie, are you with me on Denzel basically doing Training Day in this movie?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, like there's multiple scenes where he's just like Maximus Meridius. All right, okay, my man. So what, you think you special now because you were a gladiator? I expect you to fight. I don't give a damn about no Romans. Never give a damn about me.
Yeah. I thought the two guys that played the princes were too much.
Way too much.
It's just like stop overacting. Like, you don't need to. I know you're supposed to be crazy and all of that. It was too much, dude. Like and maybe it's because I know that actor too well, but he's the guy from Stranger Things and Quiet Place 2, and you just see him in public, and it's just like, my God, man. Like, Joaquin Phoenix was very believable as whatever his name was in that movie. What was it, Caesar? I don't even remember what his name was.
No, he wasn't Caesar, but
but he was very believable. It wasn't too over the top. Whereas these guys, it was way too over the top to me.
And they weren't like good villains. That's why Denzel was there. He was a really good villain.
Right.
But the whole CGI element to it of like rhinos and underwater, sharks and, flesh-eating monkeys, that's where I was like, what are we doing here? Like the whole love of Gladiator was how real it was and no extra, special effects. It was just
real it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm like how it was. It looked real, like it was just two guys fighting. Now they brought all like this computer animated bullshit to it, where I was like, all right, and I know that stuff existed back then, but I don't know. Like, it was a well made movie. At the end of the day, did we need it? No.
Do we need any movies ever? No, but it's fun.
Well, I mean, that's a bigger psychological question of do we ever need
Terry,
movies?
like, do we need this movie? No, you don't need any movies. We really don't.
Well, what were some unanswered questions at Gladiator 1 that you needed in this movie?
I didn't have any unanswered questions.
Exactly. So it's a money grab at the end of the day.
Yeah, sure. But it was good.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Denzel made me laugh.
It made for a fun night out.
Yeah, did you see that? You notice that scene I was talking about where he was like, it was basically Training Day, where he literally just goes like, in Training Day it was give me the bitch, and then this one was like give me the bow. It was the same goddamn thing. And then I was expecting him at the end of the movie when it's the army of Romans and he's just there like talking to the new Gladiator guy, like straight out of like, you motherfuckers. All right, okay. It was just straight up, King Kong ain't got shit on me. It was the same exact thing.
Another psychological question. Isn't every movie a money grab? Technically,
no.
Yes.
No. Some. I mean, yeah, they're put up for.
Oh, it's a passion project.
Yes. So some people just want to make movies. It's a whole story. And some people just want to make money.
And also they can get millions out of it.
That's part of it.
Every movie.
I mean,
grab.
Fast and Furious, definitely a money grab.
No movies are needed. Every movie's a money grab, but we love it as human beings.
I guess when you put it like that, it's hard to argue. And that's a good spot to end. All right, everybody. We will be back on Wednesday next week because, oh boy, you're going to hear a lot of me. Not only am I doing the show, the Dirty Work show on Tuesday with Copes, there's nobody to host Sports Phone that night.
Oh.
So it's going to be a little Nepo phone. Me and Greg Silver from 7 to 9. Giving you late night talk show material, and who knows, maybe we'll get John Heyman on.
I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment.
It's Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I am
I'm
not
done with you.
I am not taking this that serious. John, thank you for joining us,
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
John. I can't even believe
it. You best believe that's going to be a drop going forward. Is everybody just like, can't even believe it? And by the way, Ernie, 6 days of Derek. No, I will not be on next Thursday because of the Niner Ram game. So I'll have a day off finally.
Well done.
Yep. Alrighty. Are you teeing this up for the last thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is more for the listener.
All right. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks to all of the Ernies. I saw Ernie 1 for the first time yesterday. He came out to Almanac. Good to finally meet. Ernie 2, Rock a New Era, AJ Cruz. Saw Danny Golding TV in here. Saw Jesse calling me out for my Wicked takes.
Mm-hmm.
Saw fake Derek Papa and saw a little bit of Tacky. All right, that's it. See you guys on Wednesday. Steven, say what you always say.
Thank you for joining us,
I can't even
John.
believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
It's just our opinion, man.